Hello, everyone. It's Monday. Yes, Monday. And it's March 1st. I mean, seriously, how did we get here so fast? But it is here. I really don't need these, but I need to check my sound at some point. Oh my gosh. But it is March 1st. It's another edition of Travel the World as a Speaker. It is Pisces season. Yay, for those of you who believe that type of stuff. Because it is the month of my birthday. Oh, I know. I'm going to be aging this month, but I'm excited for this month, and I'm excited for this particular show because we're going to talk about how much to charge when it comes to speaking. So the title really is How Much Should I Charge? But we're going to talk about how much you should start charging when it comes to speaking, and I'm really excited about that. So for those of you tuning in, I am Phylecia Jones. I'm your host, and you are watching Travel the World as a Speaker, where we mix a little bit of the two things that I really do like, and that is speaking and traveling the world. So what we're going to do today, and while I plug in my phone for my Instagram folks over here, because who knows what my power is like. Let me go ahead and stick that in there. Oh, I can feel the power happening. All right, so I think we're back. So sorry about that. I had to put the charger in so that, the phone wouldn't die. I mean, that's just kind of how this goes. So we're going to talk about the two things that I absolutely love, and that is speaking and traveling. This is Travel the World as a Speaker. I am your host, and we're going to talk about how much should I charge when it comes to speaking. Now, this show is brought to you by iFind You Clothes, and we actually go out and find speaking gigs for you. Yeah, that's what we do, and we deliver them. So today, we actually just delivered our weekly batch of speaking opportunities. So if you are a hacker, oh my gosh, I forget, if you are a hacker, if you are an expert in mental well-being, health and wellness, you definitely want to come and join us over at ifindyouclothes.com, because those events, they're looking for speakers just like you. So I'm excited about that. So every Monday we send out a brand new batch of speaking opportunities so that you can go and get yourself on stage. Now, I got to give you my travel story of the day. I know, the travel story of the day. And I'm going to just say, I don't really have a travel story, but I'm definitely starting to feel a little antsy when it comes to travel. It's starting to kick in. So I'm not really sure where I want to go. Now, I have an RV, and we've done this before. A few months ago, we got an RV, went down to the desert. I'm thinking it might be time for a desert trip. So I like it because it is as social distance as you can get. Don't have to really interact with anyone. So I'm thinking about that, but I'm also thinking about like when I can get on a plane safely and go to somewhere else. I don't know if I want a city trip or if I want a beach trip. I don't know. I've never been like a beach person. After like a day, I get really bored. But oh my gosh, I could go with a nice view right now, seeing the ocean and having some warm sun on me, because it is cold. It is cold here in Colorado. And I took my sweatshirt off so that I could look somewhat presentable, but I'm freezing right now. I'm in the basement and it is really cold, and it's hard to turn the heat on down here. So I'm just gonna power through because I love you, and we're gonna talk about some amazing stuff today. All right, so with that is the travel story. And we're gonna go ahead and talk about how much should I charge when it comes to speaking. I know, I feel like I'm dancing. Now we're coming to you live here on, on Instagram and YouTube. So for all my Instagram people, if you want to see my whiteboard, because I'm going to be using the whiteboard today, you have to come and join us over here on YouTube. So you can check the link in the bio, or you can go to ifindyouclothes.com/YouTube. So that's what you can do. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this topic, because I'm not going to take a lot of time on it. I just want to get straight to the point. We are always in this mode of what should I charge when it comes to speaking. Everybody wants to know, what should I charge? What should I charge? What should I charge? I don't know. Now, I know a lot of other speakers. I know people who train speakers. They have formulas. People have formulas. They have spreadsheets. They have all these little things of where you are, what you should expect, what you should ask for. Here's the low down, dirty, darn truth of it. You're going to have to learn how to negotiate. That's it. We've had other shows on here that have talked about negotiating and selling. So you're going to have to first learn how to negotiate. I mean, you're going to learn as you go, but you're going to have to first realize that negotiating is going to be a part of all of this. The second thing, before we jump into what you should charge, is you got to start looking at what you provide, look at your overall brand. That's going to be your topics, your knowledge, your expertise, your time doing all of this stuff. And you have to, and even your website, what you've done in the past, your credibility, all of that goes into how much you should charge. And then, of course, we got to sprinkle that with a lot of confidence, because that is the game changer there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my whiteboard. I realized that I had a whiteboard app on my laptop, and I didn't have to use some of the other things I was using. So I'm really excited about my little whiteboard that I have here. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my main. All right. So you can't see what's at the top because it says how much to charge for speaking. Now, I'm going to give you how I should do this, how I do this, okay? And I've seen all of the formulas, and I've had friends who have kind of talked me through all of this, but things change when you get on the phone, when you get through email, and you have to actually straight up negotiate and say what your rates are. So I will say this, the first thing that you have to do is, one, you never tell them how much you charge. You ask for the budget. Ask for the budget. I think it's guessing how I'm writing. Isn't that kind of cool? That's the first thing you want to do. Always ask, what's your budget? What's the budget for your speakers? How much have you all set aside to compensate your speakers? You need to ask that first. Now remember, before you even start talking about money, you need to ask questions. Now, I know. A lot of people are going to get you in these little situations where you feel a little cornered and you feel trapped, and they're going to say, no, just tell us how much you charge. Usually, I'm going to say this, when you go back and forth with somebody, just tell me how much you charge. And when you start asking your questions, how many people, what's the event, what's the date, and they don't have one for you, they are just feelers. I call those feeling. Those people are just feeling you out because, one, they already don't have money. I hate to say it. Just kind of clue in that they probably don't have money anyway, and they don't really know if they're going to have an event. So you're going to have to just kind of maneuver through those people, because if they can't answer your questions first, remember, you always got to ask questions first. How many people, where's the date, location, is it local, is it far away, is it out of the country? You got to start asking these questions before you say anything else about yes or when you start getting into the money thing. You got to start asking these questions, and your last question should be, what's the budget? So first you got to ask for the budget. Now, if they go back and forth and they hem and haw, like, no, tell us how much you should charge. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Number 2, you need to have a number in mind. Oh, erase. Oh my gosh, this is so fancy. I love this. You need to have a number in mind. Now, this is where we got to get to when it starts, when we're getting to the point of trying to figure out how much to charge for speaking. Before you even negotiate for anything, have a number in mind. Now remember, it's all going to be around your brand, your expertise, everything you bring to the table. That's how you're going to start figuring out how much you should charge. Now, there's 2 ways to do this when you have your number in mind. If you are brand new, you're a little scared on doing this, just choose a number. I know, it's kind of crazy. Choose a number. Because a lot of people, I don't know, this is a thing that we all have when it comes to sales. Like, I can tell you should start with $1,500. I mean, to be honest, I would say anybody, you start with $1,000 to $1,200. That's where I would tell you to start. But some people are just not ready for that. So what I want you to do is choose a number. If you are very, 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 very new, I want you to start between $250 and $500. So this is where, if you're a newbie, I'm going to say newbie. $250 to $500. Now, secretly in my head, I really want you to start at $1,500. Actually, no. I actually want you to start a little differently. I'm trying to see my pen. See, it works. Oh, look at me. Hot stuff. Look at you, girl. So I want you to start between, okay. I got to erase again. I know you get to see me do these things. I've never really used this pen the way it's supposed to be used. And I'm not using it properly the way it's supposed to be used. So I'm going to do that. So secretly, I want you to start between $1,000 to $1,200 when you are starting out speaking. Now, like I said, that's my secret hope. This is where I really want you to be. And I know you can't see that over there. This is where I really want you to be when it comes to speaking. Now, I know a lot of us, we're not ready for that yet. That can be a little scary. We don't know how to start. Like, oh my gosh, $1,000. Yes, you have earned the right to ask for $1,000 to $1,200. But if you are not there yet, I say start with $250. And the reason why I say start with $250 is because you can do some very interesting things. I like to start with $250 and then increment. Then by every other gig that you get, you increment, raise your price by increments. I'm going to do this. I know I'm going to be an expert someday on do this on doing my whiteboard while I'm talking. Raise by an increment, and I'm going to say raise by an increment of $250, okay? I don't want you to do this thing where, here's the thing, I really honestly don't want you to undervalue yourself and go like, I'm going to raise it by $25 or $50. No, if you're going to increment that puppy. So I want your increments to be at $250. So, and what I mean by that, let me write this over again because I am messing up at the moment. So if you're going to start in the world of 250 to 500 and, until you kind of, get your bearings, and I'm going to move my camera again. I know you guys are like, what is going on? So I'm just moving the camera so that you can see what I'm writing. I didn't realize I can make it smaller, but if you are kind of new and you're not really sure about sales and you're starting to learn, I say start with between $250 and $500. And then every next gig, you raise it by $250, or every other gig by $250. So let's just say your first 2 gigs, you got them and they're $250 each. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was kind of cool. Now for that third one, when they come in, increment that, by $250, and now it's $500. And then for the next one, for the next 2, you can increment that by $250 and get to $750. And so at that point, when you realize that people are willing to pay you for your skills, you just slowly keep incrementing. And then this is just a great way to train yourself on how to appreciate your value. And I'm just being straight up honest. Not everybody is ready to go and say, oh my gosh, give me $1,500, give me $1,200. I mean, like I said, secretly, I want you to start at that $1,000 to $1,200 mark as a newbie. But you can start and just slowly increment your prices. Now, if you are still newbie but you're a little aggressive and you can go for this, double it. Start with $250. Your next gig, double it to $500. Double it to $750. Until you get comfortable with knowing that, what, I'm valuable, I'm worthwhile, and I can ask for this without, without freaking out. Now, I'm going to go back to my original one, which was, I want you to start at 1,000 to 1,200. Now, here's the deal. The reason why I want you to start at 1,000 or 1,200 is because one, if they don't tell you your budget, you're going to have to, this is where the negotiation parts are going to come in. You're going to have to learn how to negotiate. And I want you to start higher than what you think you might be worth. Now, I think you're worth more than that, but I know there's a psychological thing. So I want you to start higher than what you think you're worth. So that's why I want you to start with 1,000 to 1,200. So when somebody says, when you ask for the budget and they're like, oh, no, just tell us how much you charge. And then you just say it without sweating, $1,200, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. We only had a budget of $750. See, this is how we draw them out. We want to be able to draw them out to, draw out the number from them. All right, so $750. So what you'll do at that point, this is negotiating, like, $750, like, okay, that's why, and this is why you got to ask those questions first. So now you gave them your number. They were like, oh my gosh, we only had $750. It's like, well, you know what? You told me that this is for a group of business women and they're just starting out, and I know how that feels. So I can actually work with that budget of $750. There's a couple of things I would like a couple of tickets so I can bring a couple of folks if that's okay. This is how you start negotiating. So that's why I want you to start higher. what you don't want to do is undervalue yourself. And you go through your questions, you ask for the budget, they say, oh, we don't have one, we don't know, what do you charge? And then now you say, well, I'll just charge 250. And it's so funny, it happened, I've been in this situation. They'll say, oh my gosh, we had a budget of 750, but gosh, this works out even better for us. And you're going to be like, dang it, dang it, dang it. Because here's one golden rule: if they say yes really fast, you didn't ask for enough money. I know. It's one of those weird things, but yeah, if they say yes really, really fast, you didn't ask for enough money. That's why I want you to start higher, and then you can kind of negotiate whether or not you can do it for less. Okay. Now, if it's somebody's just as a pass through, just a feeler, they're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, we don't have that kind of money," things like that. So, and you're not gonna be able to win all of them. That's just what it is. Just realize that, they didn't see your value, so you keep moving on. So that's why I secretly want you to start at 1,000 to 1,200. But if you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know, that's why I want you to start with this 250 to $500, and then I want you to increment every other gig by 250. Okay, do that at 250. Now, here's the other thing. Now, if you're not a newbie and you're starting off, okay. See, now it's erasing when I don't want it to erase. I know. I want you to start at, 1,500 to 2,500. And the same thing. Increment every other gig, increment. This is a true task of you having to know your worth and what you have the confidence to ask for. That's just it. And that's the secret to being able to charge, because I can give you all kinds of formulas. I can tell you in year 1 through 3, charge 1,200, 3 through 4, charge this. All of that's not going to mean anything once you get into the negotiating room, because you're not going to be able to pull out your chart. Well, I have a chart that says between years 1 through 3, I should be able to be paid $1,500. It ain't going to work that way, sis. Just letting you know. So this is where you can read all these charts, you can figure out where to start, but you're going to have to put something in your head and in your brain to figure out how much you are okay with asking first. That's the thing. So if you are a newbie, I want you to start off here. 1,000 to 1,500, even up to 2,000, depending on your expertise and what you know. All right. This is where you're going to have to really understand your expertise in what you know. I will say this: don't do hourly. Don't do hourly for your speaking. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. We do not want hourly for speaking. I'm going to write this: no hourly for speaking. It's just keep it clean. I want you to keep it clean and simple. So the only time you may have an issue with hourly is if you are doing workshops, okay? Now, if they really want your time, now this is how you should charge for workshops. Either you have a rate, a basic rate, a half day rate, and a full day rate. I know, I gotta erase that. Boop, 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 boop. I feel like I need to work on my handwriting. Okay, and then you have a full day rate. Now let's just say my speaking rate is $2,500. Now that's for me to come in and speak, for maybe an hour or less. Now, and I'm just letting you know, like most times you're not speaking that long unless you kind of kick it into workshop mode. And you don't have to do this. Now, some people just have a half day and then they have a full day rate, and that's it. So you can start off with, here's my basic rate for speaking. But when we get into workshop mode, okay, we are at $5,000 for half the day, because now I'm going to be teaching for four hours, whatever half day looks like to you. But 3 or 4 to 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours, that's my half day rate. And then if you want me for the full day, If you want me for the full day, and this is an all day training, you know, now you can give a discount. You could say 7,500, or you could say 10,000, depending on how you want to do this. So when you are looking at your rates when it comes to speaking, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have a basic rate when it comes to speaking. So if it's $2,500, $1,500, you need to figure that out. Half day, that's when we're getting into charging for workshops, if they want you to come and train for half the day. So half day and full day, you know, when they say we want you to train, here are some key words. Training. We want you to come and do a training for our people, a workshop for our people. Now, we don't do this just one single rate. We come for half day and full day rate. This rate right here, I'm going to change the color. Can I change the color? I'm going to change the color. This rate right here, ooh, purple. This is our keynote rate. Oh, it's sparkly, y'all. This is for a keynote speech. And it all depends on, you know, a keynote speech. That means you may come in and speak for 45 minutes to an hour 15, but typically it's like 45 minutes to an hour. And then inside of that, you'll have Q&A, and then you're done. That's it. But if they're coming in and they want you to do training, like breaking things down, that's when we have to kick into this half day and full day rates. I hope this makes sense. If you got questions, put them in the comment box. I will be sure to come back and answer them. But I hope I gave you just a few tips on when it comes to how much should I charge for speaking. If you are new, I honestly would say just start with $1,000 to $1,200. Somewhere in between that, and get comfortable with saying my speaking fee is $1,200. That's it. Now, if people are saying yes really, really fast, that is your symbol, or not symbol, that is a red flag in your head that you're not charging enough, okay? If they're like $1,200, okay, easy, done, we got this. Too fast, all right? Now, if you come out and say my rate is $3,000, they're like, okay, I need to go back to the committee. That means you're going to have to get into negotiation modes, okay? But start off wherever you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable with $250, start there. Increment that every other gig by $250. And please, 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 please do not do an increment of $25, $50, or $100. Increment that baby by $250, because we're going to make it worthwhile. We don't want you to still get out there and just work your butt off and not get compensated for it. No, we don't want to do that, okay? We don't want to do that. So that's it. Oh, and then also have your have your rates. Like if you do want to publish your rates on your website, you can do that as well. But knowing you're typically going to be working inside of a rate of a keynote rate, meaning I'm just going to come and do a talk and I'm done and I'm peace out. Or half day rate, that's usually for your training, half day and full day. Now you can call it speaking. I separate speaking from training because there's a lot of different modes of energy that you have to be in when it comes to that type of thing. So that's all I have for you. That is all I have for you. If you have questions on how much you should charge, let me know. But I know it's a really touchy subject because, you know, people have formulas, they have all these different things, but honestly, I'm just telling you how it is. When you get on the phone and you start negotiating, things go really, really fast. So that's why you got to be where you are comfortable. So with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and sign out here on my folks on Instagram. So I appreciate you being here. If you got questions, let me know. You can go find more at iFindYouClothes.com. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. And for all of my folks here on the YouTube, I appreciate you. Hopefully you learned a few things. And if you did, just like this video, subscribe to this channel, because we're going to keep giving you more and more things that can help you be a better speaker and leverage speaking so that you can travel the world. Take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.